TX, signed acknowledgement of paternity, baby born 2 weeks ago, paternity test shows it's not mine. A little background: I am married, and my wife became pregnant, and I cared for her during the pregnancy. I was also at her side for the birth. She's a doctor, and she speaks a lot about her male nursing assistant, who tells her bizarre things. He's told stories about how he's impregnated married women and dodged accountability. I never thought much more than, wow, he sounds like and just trusted my wife completely. So, I noticed she was acting odd about her phone in the last several months, and I haven't really been allowed to touch it. Our life wasn't exactly thriving when she became pregnant, so although it's possible I got her pregnant, absolutely conceivable, I believed it was unlikely given the strange phone things. One of the nights, I took a DNA sample from the infant. I used a well-known mail-in test and submitted 2 different samples to ensure no mistakes could be made since I don't want to jeopardize my marriage. Both returned as the kid not being mine. Some ideas that I believe will be beneficial to me: the adultery is all too obvious. Her mother is now residing with us. Her mother is adamantly anti-cheating and adores me. She is a doctor in the region and is quite concerned about her reputation. She is also active in the church. She has no clue, as far as I can tell. I concealed the test kits in my work bag, which she never checks, and I've been keeping an eye on it. I sent them while out shopping and obtained the findings online. I still have the element of surprise on my side in this situation. My inquiries are as follows: I saw that I have 60 days to cancel the op. If I retract this, and the divorce goes well, and I'm able to identify the true father, who I believe is the nurse, although I might be mistaken. He's the only male she appears to have a lot of exposure to and meets the criteria. Are I still at danger of having to pay child support for an 18-year-old kid who isn't mine? I assume she will want to avoid having to pay child support to me. She's a self-sufficient woman who says, I don't need no guy. But I may be mistaken since I definitely don't know her as well as I believed. We earn about the same amount of money. I own a property with 20% equity that I acquired before the marriage and rent out. In preparation for the baby, we acquired a new house jointly. I am divorced, and in my last divorce, my ex made off like a bandit, despite the fact that there was no adultery and she earned substantially less than me. Could her easy-to-prove adultery help me get a better divorce settlement? How can I tell whether a family lawyer is competent? It's exhausting to look for one. It's difficult to tell since everyone I've spoken with on the phone is rough around the edges and unpleasant. I don't mind having a tough lawyer, but I also don't want someone who intimidates me. Update 1. She, recently had a baby. It was 2 weeks ago. My wife began acting strangely with her phone in the middle of her pregnancy, and she's told me about a colleague who boasts about sleeping with a slew of people, including married women, and even boasts about fathering a kid and another guy accidentally raising it. I believe he's a jerk, but I assumed my wife was telling me this to emphasize how bad he is. He's the only male she spends any time with except me, and he has a history of doing so I'm presuming the baby is his, but I may be mistaken. I don't really care who it is at this time. I'm simply sure it's not mine. Anyway, that's how I know. I purchased 2 well-known paternity tests in the weeks leading up to the baby's birth and kept them carefully hidden. I administered them and mailed them in, and both, I used too simply to eliminate the possibility of a fake positive or negative or anything like that. Paranoid, showed that the kid was not my. I'm trying my best to put up a nice show and seem to be the dedicated parent, husband she believes I am. But I'm disgusted and bitter. I have a great desire to get ahead of this since I have already been divorced, and also cheated on in that marriage. Amazing, I'm kind of numb to it now, and the ex-wife told everyone that I cheated on her and that she was the victim, and it turned into a huge mess where most people still don't believe me, and she told everyone that the screenshots I had proving it were Photoshop/generated, and she generated her own as well to make it look like I was some woman who doesn't exist. It's because I believed she was a wonderful person and gave her the benefit of the doubt. Instead, she became unhappy that she had been discovered and instantly informed everyone that I had cheated instead of her, and it became her word against mine. I don't believe it will happen here since there's a kid to establish the adultery, but I'm still wary. Given the severe scenario in which I've been misled for over a year. Would it be fair for me to summon both of our families and closest friends and face her with witnesses, paternity testing, divorce papers, and a packed bag? I simply want to make sure that nothing is miscommunicated to anybody. To be quite honest, I don't care whether the attendees think I'm being immature or petty. Miscommunication has already harmed my reputation, and many people I considered close friends believe I cheated on my ex when she cheated on me and would never speak to me again. Her family is nearby, so I believe she will be able to remain with them after the event, but at this point, I've had my image wrongly destroyed once in my life by a very evil individual. I don't want that to happen again, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't think her actions should be branded. Edit, I see what you mean. I'm too enraged to think clearly. More than half of those who have commented believe this is trivial, which is why I asked, and I'm going to side with those who aren't emotional wrecks right now. I intend to go with the party as usual, and as soon as the last person departs, I will pack a bag for her and the baby, as well as supply her with a printed copy of the paternity test and divorce papers. I do intend to SMS everyone who attended what happened as they left the following day, along with a photo of the paternity test. Regardless matter what Reddit thinks, I'm performing this part 100%. The family reunion is already planned at this time. I stupidly suggested this during an emotional bout. Sorry to miscommunicate that. I'll put up with it to avoid alerting her to the fact that I'm aware of it. I still want to maintain the element of surprise. I believe the wording will simply state, "It kills me to have to explain this to everyone," she says to her family and friends. I saw strange conduct in wife and began to have questions about the child's paternity. I conducted 2 paternity tests on kid, both of which revealed that she is not my child. I am really sorry to be the bearer of the news that our family will no longer exist. I wish you all the best and hope that you will support her and the kid, since the child has nothing to do with her actions. It kills me to have to explain this to everyone, I say to my family and friends. I saw strange conduct in wife and began to have questions about the child's paternity. I conducted 2 paternity tests on kid, both of which revealed that she is not my child. I am really sorry to be the bearer of the news that our family will no longer exist. I'm okay, according to my family and friends. I simply need some time to recover, and I believe that going through the divorce will be the first step. Update 2, the unabridged version is as follows. My wife and I had a kid a few weeks ago. Prior to this, I saw suspicious conduct that was triggering in my wife as a result of my former marriage. She kept her phone away from me at all times. I understand that some people think presuming someone is cheating based on that, as per the comments on the RA article, to be insecure and absurd, but I am now 2 for 2 on getting strange with the phone, which means my spouse is attempting to conceal something from me. The irony of this conduct is that I do it. Not snoop. If they simply played it cool and gave me the phone when I asked if I could check something up or use Google Maps for example, when my phone is dead, I'd never know they're cheating. It's their actions around the gadget and attempts to conceal things that give them away. I am uninterested in my wife's text messages, emails, phone history, and so on. I essentially stewed on these feelings for over a year before purchasing a couple of paternity tests and running them after the baby was born. I received the findings shortly, and both showed that I am not the father. I actually spent the whole time praying that I'm crazy, jealous, insecure. Issues that can be fixed with treatment. I've never wished to be incorrect more in my life. It's devastating to seek counsel and have others dismiss my condition as fictitious. I really wanted to be a parent. When I initially heard about the baby, I was overjoyed. I'm in my late 40s and I'm at the stage where I simply want to give up on having a family. But I'm not asking for advice here, I'm searching for support. I'm feeling fairly adrift now that I've been cheated on in both of my marriages. I'm far from perfect, and I do have some flaws. I don't believe they'll ever be large enough to justify cheating. I communicate when I have an issue, which occasionally leads to fights, but I have learnt to communicate effectively over time. I try not to be the jealous kind, and I don't limit my partners in any way. Me being jealous and controlling isn't going to stop a cheater from cheating. I tell everyone I've dated or married. If the individual cheats, I'll most likely find out and deal with it then. Having said that, it's difficult not to acquire some trust concerns following this.